team. So you just earned your promotable status, and now you need to get ready to ship off to BLC so that you can become a corporal and be fully eligible to earn the rank of sergeant. So in this video, I want to try to help set the stage for how to best prepare for BLC, let you know how that OML process works as well, and some things you can put in your kit bag to make sure that you get the best that you can out of your first step of institutional training at a non-commissioned officer education school. So after you earn your promotable status and you go to look at your SRB, you're going to see that you have some promotion points there. And if you look at your promotion points worksheet, right, you're going to see that it's official now that you're promotable. So the BLC, the Order of Merit List, or OML, you may hear that as well, is run by each individual installation, and it is independent of any unit's influence, okay? So your unit just can't say, well, this is my number one guy or this is my number one gal. It's Order of Merit List, and it's all based off of your promotion points. So if you're promotable and you're sitting at, 100 points, well, you're not going to be anywhere near the top of the list of going to school. The more points you got, comparatively, the quicker that you're going to get. Now, you can put in a standby, a short notice, 4187 to get into school, but that's going to be based off of the slots that your schoolhouse has available. The best way to do to ensure that you can get into school is to raise your points. How can you do that most effectively? Knocking out all your correspondence courses. Do that right now if you haven't already done so. And then get out there and take an APFT and raise your points. And those are the two things you could do like in 1 week to generate a butt ton of points, as it were. Right? So we do these things. Now we're at the top of the list. In the same process, I want to make sure that you're double checking. Grab a copy of your schoolhouse's packing list, right? And make sure that you have all of your items in accordance with that packing list, and pay attention to detail, right? Years ago, when I was a small group leader at the BLC Academy in Hawaii, part of our packing list was to have 5 or 6 pair of white socks, right? So if a soldier showed up to the schoolhouse and they had the white socks with gray on the toe pad or the heel pad, be like, no, bruh. That is clearly not what 670-1 says. 670-1 says white socks. These are white and gray socks. You have 3 days in which to fix your deficiency. And that's how that would roll, right? So if somebody showed up and they had the wrong towels, for example, if they had, this was unserviceable, right? If their PT uniform was unserviceable, if their regular uniform was unserviceable, it's kind of a big deal. So make sure that you double check your packing list and pay attention to detail on it, because it's going to all matter. Now, as the other thing I need you to try to do before you get into school is learn how to use Microsoft Word if you haven't already done so. How well can you type? If you don't type well, I need you to get gooder at it. If you can't use Adobe, I need you to learn how to try and get better. And the biggest things I tell you, man, is after you open up a PDF, hit Control F so that you can search that. If you have multiple PDFs in a file, then you can open up that PDF and then hit Control Shift F, and it'll search every PDF in that file folder that you choose to. So it'll search multiple ones. That can be huge as you're trying to find some references, maybe for a written test or evaluation, right? If you're trying to find some specific language, then you can use these functions, because you need to learn how to type. You need to learn how to write some short and long answer essays. Right? While you're at the academy, you're going to have some other evaluations that you're going to have. You're going to have a drill and ceremony evaluation. It's going to be squad drill. And if you search a squad drill demonstration or something like that, you'll probably find some dude at Academy in Hawaii giving a demonstration video on how to do that. You're going to have a PRT evaluation. And again, pay attention to detail. When I was at the Academy, again, if somebody was, they were doing, let's say, we bounced each other back and forth. So during the introduction, the primary and the alternate instructor would bounce back and forth during this. And then each person would do 5 events of the preparation exercises. And then they would bounce back and forth between those, right? And then you'd go into whatever that main body was. It could have been a CD1, for example, and they would bounce back and forth with those. And then they would go into the recovery, and they would bounce back and forth with those. And then they would go through an after-action review. And again, that would all be tag teamed. So if somebody's event was the push-up, and on the 3rd count, my fault, you're bad. We'll call it the 2nd count of the 4th repetition. If the upper portion of the arms was not parallel with the ground, that would be a no-go. And that one no-go would drop somebody down to 96 for doing one thing wrong. Pay attention to detail. I'm telling you, pay attention to detail. Do it all right. So you got drill and ceremony, you got PRT, you're going to teach a class, right? You may call it sergeant's time training, but you're going to teach a class, right? Again, you're going to go through and give an introduction. You're going to teach a class, and you're going to evaluate at least a soldier on that task. And then you also need to be able to give a presentation. So we're talking about being able to speak in front of people, but not doing so and rambling. So you need to make sure that you rehearse. And the other biggest thing I can tell you, my friends, is you're going to be given all of the rubrics or all of the addendums, all of the criteria to receive a go on all of your evaluations, whether it's written, whether it's verbal, whether it's hands-on. So your instructor is going to go through this rubric, and you need to make sure that you understand what it means to get a go for this block, what it means to give a go for this block. And if you have a question like, hey, if I do this, will I receive a go or a no-go? I can promise you your instructor is going to tell you. Nobody's going to be rushing out the door to try to get away from you and set you up for failure. If you ask your sergeant, if you ask that SGL for some guidance or some advice, or for some wisdom and experience, they're going to give it to you. Now, why this is important is because you need to take back as much as you can. I need students to come back from BLC ready to lead, because when you come back now, you're going to be a corporal. You're a non-commissioned officer, a leader of soldiers. I need you to realize how important that is, and I want you to feel empowered to train and to lead soldiers. So you come back and you do that. Execute your duties. This ain't time to cupcake and lollipop. Go get the most that you can out of school. One of the best things about BLC is it is non-MOS specific, which means you're going to have cooks and mechanics and engineers and signal guys and grunts and artillery bows and everything. So now you get to learn from all walks of life in the Army. Take advantage of it. Hear what other people have to say about their unit. You may learn that yours is not as bad as you thought it was, or it could be worse than what you thought it was, right? But either way, you put all this into your kit bag, and you go back and you make you and your formation better. That's it. Team, if you have some comments, if you have some experiences that you want to share, if you got anything else that you want to add into the conversation, make sure you leave it down in the comments below. That way we can continue to keep this conversation rolling. Appreciate all you guys, man. stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.